Have you ever had a brilliant idea for a cross-stitch pattern, but you didn't want to shell out the cash for specialized software? Well, good news, you already have everything that you need to make a totally usable cross-stitch pattern on your computer. Today, I'm going to show you how to transform a basic spreadsheet onto a digital canvas for you to make the cross-stitch pattern of your dreams. I'm Ford, this is my supervisor Nugget, and welcome to Caterpillar Cross-Stitch YouTube. Do me a favor and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and when we're done, leave me a comment so that I can just dive straight into the lesson. I'm going to be using Google Sheets because it's free, it's online, and practically everyone has access to it, but you could also use Microsoft Excel or Apache OpenOffice Calc, but the menu options and controls might be called something slightly different or in a slightly different place. So let's just get started. The first thing we want to do is create a new spreadsheet. Now click on the box in the top left corner of the labels row to select all rows and all columns. If we then drag the dividing line between columns A and B, it will make all the columns narrower so they'll fit on the screen and we can work with them. We'll worry about making them square in a minute. Sheets defaults to 1,000 rows, which is obviously too many rows, so we're just going to click on the label for the row after how many we need, and then shift-click on the last row. Then right-click and choose Delete Rows 61 through 1,000, or whatever the first row you don't need is through 1,000. If you're currently shouting at your screen, asking me how you know how many rows you're going to need, this would be a good time to recommend my video that I made a couple weeks ago about determining the appropriate size for your cross-stitch pattern. I also covered how to pick your colors, and I'm going to assume that you already know all that information as I proceed with this one. Now I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see more of my page. I recommend using the little drop down instead of Control plus or Control and scroll, because that will resize the whole web page and things will start to get messy. So now I'm going to add some columns to my sheet. It defaults to 26 and I need more than that. So I'll highlight the columns by clicking and dragging on the column labels, then right click and insert 24. I'm doing that just because that brings me to a nice even 50. And then I'll select 25 more and then insert them for 75 total. I already experimented with the pattern I'm going to make, so I know 75 is pretty close to sufficient, but you can add more later if you run out of space. So now I'm going to set my cell dimensions to get them exactly square. First, click the label for column A, and then shift-click the label for the last column. Right-click now shows Resize Columns as an option, so I go to that and choose 20 pixels wide. Then I'll do the exact same thing for the rows, so now I have 75 by 60 squares for my spreadsheet. Now you'll notice a problem if I put a character here in these cells, that the symbol is not centered. That's going to get confusing while stitching, so what I want to do is highlight everything again, either click the top left or Control A, and then use these two buttons to center the text horizontally and vertically within the cell. See how it moved those? Next, we want to make our lines a little more visible so we can count easier while we chart. So we highlight everything and we use this little button to add borders to the cell. These little icons tell you which borders you're changing, and then this little drop down lets you pick a weight. So we want thin lines on all cells. And then we'll select a 10 by 10 area and we'll use the border menu again to put a slightly thicker outside border around that 10 by 10 box. Then we can use this little dot in the corner of our selection to apply the format down, and then again to apply it across. So now we get 10 by 10 bold lines to make it easier to count. Now it's time to pick our colors. Now there are a few different ways that we can do this, since we want our on-screen colors to at least kind of match the Floss colors. You can look up the RGB codes for the colors you intend to use, or look up the hexadecimal color codes for the ones that you plan to use, but I'm going to actually sample a picture. Plus, I want to be able to type a symbol into a cell and have that cell automatically change to the color that corresponds with that symbol. So I'm going to be using a feature called conditional formatting. First, I'm going to open the pictures of the DMC Floss sample card from DMC's website, and then make it a split view with my spreadsheet so I can see both at the same time. I'm also going to go ahead and highlight all rows and columns, and then I'll move this divider so I can see a little bit better. Now I want to go Format and then Conditional Format. That will give me this tool. So I'll set the condition to text is exactly, and I'll put the symbol that I want to correspond to my first color. Let's start with 1. And I want that color to be kind of a warm gray. So I'm going to go with 3023. So I click this little paint can, which sets the cell's fill color, and I click this little dropper thing on the color dialog. I'll pick a pixel that looks right on my sample card, and that's it. Now I click Add Another Rule, since I need a new rule for each color. So I'll put my symbol as 2. I'll scroll to where I can see my next color. I'm going to use 3799. And then I click the little paint can, the dropper, and pick up my new color. Now that makes my symbol really hard to see, so I'm also going to use this little A here to change the color of my text so it stands out. See that? Then I'll just repeat this process for each color that I'm going to add to the pattern. It will show you in the rules list what symbol each color is if you lose track, or if you accidentally reuse a symbol, you'll see that here as well. Now I would recommend at this stage using lowercase letters or numbers for your symbols, because you want to be able to type each one with a single keystroke. You don't want to have to hit Shift and then a letter. It'll just be way faster for typing them in. If we want to use more distinctive or custom symbols, I'll show you how to do that later. I also like to use sequential symbols for sets of colors. So for my 2 reds, I used A and B. And for my grays that are shades of one another, I used 1 and 2. That just makes it easier for me to kind of switch back and forth between them as I'm having those colors interact with one another in the pattern. And if later we change our mind about the colors that we're using, we can just go in and edit that conditional formatting rule, and it will change all of the cells that go with it everywhere else on the pattern, which is really handy. Okay, so we've assigned symbols to all of our colors and set the whole sheet up so that when we type the symbol into a cell, it changes to the corresponding color automatically. I'm just going to put one of each down here in the corner as a reference for myself and to make sure that it's working, and it is. So now I'm ready to start charting out my pattern. I've already toyed around with this a little bit with the graph paper method that I showed you last week, so I have kind of an idea of where this is going to go. Now, as I'm charting my pattern, you're probably going to recognize what I'm making. So look at the time when you figure out what it is and put it in the comments. I want to know when you figured it out. No cheating. So all I'm doing here is I'm moving my cursor around with the arrow keys and sometimes with mouse clicks and then typing in the character. Since I can enter each one with just one keystroke, I can move pretty fast. One nice thing about doing this compared to graph paper is that I can easily change what color a particular stitch is by just typing a new symbol into it, and I can copy something and paste it. It will always paste starting with the top left corner of what I selected and copied. And you'll notice here that it also pastes the formatting. So here it messed up our grid markings. So to avoid that, we can either use Control-Shift-V to paste, or right-click, Paste Special, and then choose Values Only. That way it'll only paste the contents of the cells rather than the formats. So now I'll get started on drawing out my pattern. If your pattern uses a lot of geometric shapes or big blocks of color or repeating motifs, copying them and then using Paste Special Values Only or Control-Shift-V can save you a lot of time here. I'm going to speed this up for a little bit here while I work. I realized I was probably going to need a little more space, so I went ahead and added some more columns, and then I formatted them with the grid lines as well. But don't forget to join our Stitch Club email so you can keep up to date on all of Caterpillar Cross Stitch's upcoming patterns, subscription boxes, retreats, socials, and much more. Plus, you'll get a free ebook with 10 free PDF cross-stitch patterns worth £60. Hit the link in the video description or in the first pinned comment to sign up, and don't forget to find us on Facebook and on Instagram to take advantage of the supportive and creative Caterpillar cross-stitch community. Okay, now that I've got my pattern all drawn out, I'm going to do some things to make it a bit easier to read and to stitch from. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a row on top and a column on the left, and then just label every 10th stitch like this. I actually kind of think this way of labeling is less confusing than the way patterns are normally labeled, where the number is on the line, because it makes it more clear which one is the 10th stitch. But now I've got some extra negative space on the left here that I don't need, so I'm going to move the whole pattern over to the edge of the chart. All I have to do is highlight it, copy it, press delete once it's on my clipboard, and then put my cursor in the top left corner of my chart area, not the spreadsheet though, because we don't want to erase those labels we just made, and hit Control-Shift-V or Paste Special Values. Next, we're going to make ourselves, or anyone else who stitches this, a color key. I want it to be a bit easier to read, so I'm going to add some more rows down here at the bottom. I'll select 3 of these little square cells and click this little Merge Cells button up here, and then I type in the floss number for my color and put the corresponding symbol next to it. If you're a little more spreadsheet savvy, you can also make another cell with a count function that will tell you how many stitches of each color there are, but that's a bit too far into the weeds for today. After I've got each number there and symbol and color block next to it, I'll use the borders tool again to outline them for ease of reference. Now here's how we change which symbols are used for those colors so that we can put more interesting or distinctive ones in there. First, I use Control F to get the Find dialog box, and I'll click this little 3 dots menu button, which will give me the Find and Replace tool. I put the symbol I want to replace, in this case B, and what I want to replace it with, I'll go with an ampersand, and then I hit Replace All. You can see all of my stitches in that lighter red color just went white. So I open my conditional formatting rules again, and I change the rule for B so that it is instead looking for ampersands. As soon as I hit Done, all those stitches fill back in. I can then just repeat that process for each color that I want to assign a special symbol for. Again, this is totally optional. It just makes it a little bit easier to read sometimes, or makes it a little bit more fun if you have like thematic symbols that you want to use. And you can use special characters instead of just letters and numbers. So now what I'm going to do is delete the extra columns on the right, and I'm ready to print. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to View and then click on Show and then deselect grid lines so the grid lines won't show up on my printer. Then I'm going to hit Control P. I can use these scale options over here to make it bigger or to get it all to fit onto one sheet. And then I hit Save as PDF for my printer. It'll create a PDF that I can easily send to my phone or to my tablet or to share with other stitchers. Now the technical part of it is the easy part. The creative part is a little bit more difficult, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave that part up to you. That is my quick primer on how to use a spreadsheet program to easily make cross-stitch patterns without having to shell out any extra money for a specialized program. Do you have an idea, something that you're going to make with this method? Let me know in the comments. I'm excited to hear about your projects. That is all I have for you this week. I do want to thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're already a subscriber and you're on your mobile phone, hit those little 3 dots over here and then choose Hype. It will really help me out a lot and I'd appreciate it. As always, I'm Ford. This is my supervisor Nugget. On behalf of Caterpillar Cross Stitch, happy stitching and we'll see you next week.